What's up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and we are here today, you guys, with the season finale of Reasonable Doubt, you guys. Season 2, Episode 10. The episode is titled Encore. Now, before we do get into the review, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and then have me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, you guys, and also by sharing the video. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let us go ahead and discuss the season finale of Reasonable Doubt. Shall we? All right, you guys. So I do hope this show gets a third season because season 2 was so good. Like, I've enjoyed every moment of this season. So, you guys, we pick up the episode where episode 9 ended, where Jax went down to the jail to tell Chanel, I know who took out JT, right? And so she's talking to Chanel, but the music, drowns out what is being said, right? So we don't necessarily hear as Jax tells Chanel who she believes took out JT, right? So then we do a flashback to the day that Chanel was getting ready to leave, right? And so JT came in the house, and because she was actually hanging up the phone with Sally. So he asked her, where was she going? She said she was leaving. He asked her where she's going. She said it doesn't matter, right? She's like, this is over between me and you. It's like it's no good for us, right? So then he tried to tell her there are millions of women who would love to be in your position. Excuse me, sir. So you're gonna try to guilt trip her, talking about there are other women who want to be in her position. Well, baby, they can have it. I would have told him, JT, they can have it. Like, I don't want you. Like, I'm out of here. I don't want to deal with you. I don't want to deal with this. Like, this is not working for me. So goodbye, JT. And again, whatever women that you want to bring in here to deal with that cycle of abuse, have at it, right? So Chanel then told him that she's taking the girls with her, right? So he slaps her and then he, knocks her on the ground and all that kind of stuff, right? So then we see as he gets on top of her, punching her and choking her out, right? And right as he was about to, take her out for good, boom, JT got clocked upside the head, right? And you guys guess who the person who took JT out was? Drum roll, please. It was Natasha, you guys. I think it was pretty obvious that it was Natasha. I know a lot of people thought it was Sally, but I knew after we got to the episodes. So when I figured out it was Natasha, it was the episode where we found out that it wasn't Adrian, because initially I thought it was Adrian, right? Well, not necessarily thought it was Adrian. Adrian was on my list, but I soon figured it out. I'm like, the Chanel is going so hard. And I'm like, I don't think Chanel would be going this hard for a man. I don't care if this man has saved her life. I didn't think that she would go that hard for him. And then, like everybody was saying, Sally, I was like, it's not Sally either. Yes, Sally is her cousin, but I don't think she would go this hard for Sally either. I mean, again, she loves her cousin, but I told you guys, I knew I thought that's what it was. The writers were leaving breadcrumbs, right? The fact that Sally put up the house, the fact that Sally was helping Chanel, I kind of figured, I'm like, they're leading us to believe it's Sally. And then the way that Sally was acting in the last few episodes, I'm like, yeah, the producers are leading us to the writers, not producers. The writers are leading us to believe it's Sally, but it's not Sally. So Chanel told Jordan, not Jordan, but Natasha, like, go upstairs, right? Go upstairs, change your clothes, and then come back down. So when Natasha came back down, Chanel told her, okay, what I need for you to do is go back to your dorm as if you've been there all night, right? And so we see now, I don't know, because we see as Chanel is, boom, boom, as we see, JT's blood splattering and we see her swinging. I was like, is she hitting him? So then we see as she also, my bad, you guys, my work computer is going off. But we see her as she went and so she went to go wash the clothes that Natasha had on, because the clothes that Natasha had on has JT's blood on it, right? So what she decided to do, she decided to put on said clothes, and I was like, okay. So now this whole remember the timeline that Lucy has been trying to paint, right? That JT had been deceased for 2 hours before Chanel even called for help for JT, right? And then after that, we see as that's when she called Jax to come help her, right? I was like, okay, so now we're getting everything. So then we see as JT is begging Chanel to call for help, he's talking about he's sorry and everything. I'm like, I bet you are, because there's a big hole in your head and you're leaking blood. He's talking about call for help, baby, call for help. I'm sorry. She said, I am too. I was like, and I am three. Like, I'm really sorry, but JT, go to the pits of hell. So then we move 24 hours earlier, right? So we see as Jax is talking to Crystal, to Corey, and Daniel, and she's letting them know that Chanel isn't the one who took out JT. And so they were like, well, what clued you in? She's like, I always knew she was protecting someone. Oh, excuse me. She said she always knew she was protecting someone, right? But she said she then remembered a conversation that she had with Chanel, where Chanel was more concerned about what she would tell Jordan, who was away at school. And she never said them, Natasha and Jordan. So that's how Jax put two and two together, that Chanel was protecting Natasha, right? That's a mother's love for you. That is a mother's love. And the interesting, which we all know, that Chanel is not Jordan's biological mother, but she loves her. She loves her nonetheless, and I love that for Chanel, right? I really truly do, right? So Corey's whole thing is, they want to go to Lucy and present this information to Lucy, but Jax is like, no, I need to sit down with Chanel and make sure that Chanel is on board with this. So we see as Natasha is telling Chanel, like, Mama, you protected me, so let me protect you, right? So we see as Corey and Jax went to go to Lucy with a signed confession and a photo of Jordan wearing the outfit that Chanel had on the night of JT's untimely demise. Well, not even untimely. I ain't even gonna say untimely demise. His timely demise, because he deserved that, right? So then after that, Lucy is just kind of questioning it. She's like, because your client just bombed on the stand, and so now you guys want to come to me with this? And I was like, ma'am, they're showing you all the proof, but you still, okay, girl, whatever, right? Because Lucy feels like this is a coincidence. So now we move to the last day of the trial where they're doing their closings, right? So you guys know when it comes to Lucy, Lucy is painting Chanel as someone who premeditated this, because that's literally what it is. It's premeditated, but she's not saying the premeditated part. But she's saying that, Chanel intentionally did this, sought out to take out JT. She found out he was sleeping with Tony, and she planned all this stuff, right? Then we get Corey going up, right? And you guys know Corey. Corey's defense is Chanel was an abused, battered woman who was trying to get away from her husband, which is absolutely 100% true. So now it's time for the jury to go and deliberate, right? So we see Jackson Corey. So they are both outside having a smoke break, right? And so Jax asked Corey, like, if we lose this case, would you regret taking it? And in a nutshell, he says no, he would not regret taking the case, right? So then she had to go because she told him, my husband just had his baby. And Corey looked at her like, huh? Your husband did what? I was like, yeah, Corey, it's a long ordeal. It's a long story. We'll talk about it another time, sir. We will definitely talk about it another time. Okay, y'all. So now we see as Jax makes it over to the hospital, right? So Lewis tells Jax that the baby, he's fine, and that the baby, the doctor came out and basically told them that they just want to keep the little boy there. His name is Jaden, and they want to keep Jaden there until he is full term. So then we see as the days are passing by with the jury and deliberation, and we just see different things going on. We see, Jackson, Corey, and the team together. We see Lewis holding the baby. We just see a lot of things that are happening over the course of the jury deliberation. So then the deliberation came to an end, and Corey told Jax the jury has come to a verdict, right? So we get to the court. We get to court, right? And so the judge reads off the counts. The first one is the murder of JT, right? And the jury found Chanel not guilty. And I was like, okay, whew. But then when it comes down to the manslaughter, the jury found Chanel guilty. And so the bailiffs wrapped Chanel up and, took her back to jail, right? So after that, we see Jax. So Jax went to go see Lucy. And Lucy's like, so you're here looking for a job? Because I'm sure the guys down at the firm, they are not too happy with you. And Jack said, girl, I don't need no validation from a man. And Lucy's like, neither do I. And she's like, that's interesting because she said, I know that Peter, it was that before or after Peter beat you up, right? And I was like, oh, so Peter was abusive to her. I was like, oh, okay. So Lucy asked her, how did you find that information out? She's like, I did a little, she did a little digging and she found out. And I was like, wow, Lucy, that's so interesting. You have been trying, which I knew that that was the case with Lucy and Peter, that he abused her. And it's like you sat here vilified and made Chanel of the not the well, you made JT the victim and Chanel the aggressor in this the villain and the aggressor. It is so mind blowing to me with Lucy, and you've experienced your own domestic situation. So Jax is really just telling her, like, she's asking for Lucy to recommend to the judge a lighter sentence to Chanel. And Lucy's whole thing is, girl, if I do that, like, I'm trying to keep my son. So if I do that, I probably won't have a job, and I lose my son, and I can't afford that. I don't have any options when it comes to that. And just like, no options. I was like, exactly. Like, they tried to work with you in the beginning. Yes, it the way that Chanel did things were very sloppy, but she did this stuff out of fear and protection for her child. Ugh, Lucy, Lucy. Like, I just uh 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 like uh uh But yeah, you guys, we can go ahead and move on. So after that, we see as Jack's after that, where we at? Let me see where we at, you guys. Cause I don't lost my train of thought. Hold on. Okay, so after that, Jax went home to Lewis, and she went home. Lewis texted her saying that he was with the baby and the kids were with Kanika, right? So she sat down for a smoke, and Damon appears out of ghostly Damon appears, saying that it's not her fault. And honestly, you guys, I really truly didn't understand this scene. I think more so this ghostly Damon was there to give her validation that because she's blaming herself for a lot of things, and I think ghostly Damon was just there to basically let her know it's okay to forgive yourself. It's okay not to blame yourself for everything because we all have our choices. I made my choice. Lewis made his choice, and so did Tony, and so did you. So and I'm glad that that happened because here's the thing: the way that Jackson Lewis's marriage was season one, I think it was inevitable that one of them would do something like this, right? And it just so happened to be Lewis. So I think I'm I think that's where I'm going with the whole situation. You guys, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, and we'll go ahead and move on, you guys. Now, one thing I will say about Jax is Jax did throw away her cigarettes. I was like, thank God, girl, you throwing them cigarettes away. So after that, we see Jax. So she went to go talk to Tony. And in a nutshell, she just told Tony that whatever she needs, she's there for her. And so Tony's like, do you want to be, would you like to meet the baby? So she took Jax in to meet little Jaden, right? He's a little guy. So after that, we see Lucy. So Lucy went to go meet up with Peter, telling him to drop the custody battle and go back to Vegas. So she told him, she's just trying to do whatever she can to protect her son, right? So he looks at the table, her phone was on the table, and he was like, you bitch, you're recording me. And I was like, sir, are you about to do what I think you're about to do? He said, I sure the fuck am. He slapped the shit out of her at that table. I was like, well, damn, sir. Like, really? You just yoked her up at this table? That is crazy to me. So I'm like, and she works for the DA's office, right? And so the cops swarmed in and arrested him. Like, you bitch, you set me up. I was like, you the dumb bitch that slapped her in a public place in front of people. Even if she didn't set you up, you stupid. I mean, you just so stupidly slapped that woman. I was like, wow, sir. I was not expecting that one. I really wasn't expecting that. But he slapped the hell out of her. The entire hell out of that woman. Her face was bruised. And I was like, you got what you wanted, Lucy, because he got arrested, right? So then we see Sally and Chris, right? So they're talking, and Sally let Chris know that she knew all along that Chanel was protecting Natasha. He got upset with her about that. And I get him being upset. I get him being upset, but she was protecting her family. Like, I don't know how. I mean, I get that she could have told him, but in this particular moment, I feel like Chris was doing too much, right? But you guys tell me what you think, because again, I get him being upset. So then, they both mentioned the fact that Jackson Lewis suggested they go to their therapist, right? And we'll see them. We'll see that later in this episode, right? Now we move over to the sentencing. So the prosecutors are asking for the maximum sentence of 11 years for Chanel. So then Jax got up and spoke for Chanel, not as her attorney, but as her friend. And, Jax was just basically saying how, she knew that Chanel was always selfless, but with this case, she really found out how selfless she was. And she was really talking about what she did for Natasha, but she verbalized the pain and the abuse that she was going through at the hands of JT. And she didn't tell anybody because she didn't want to burden anyone, right? So the judge suspended Chanel's sentence and for her immediate release. So for Chanel has 5 years probation. She has to do therapy. She has to she has to do community service of her choosing. She has to do community service, and I think do something with a charity of her choosing, right? I think, right? So then we see Mavis so raggedy ass out in the gallery, and she's just looking disgusted, and she ushers Chanel's kids out, right? So we see as Chanel got out of jail, and the girls were there to greet her, and then Jack's like, "Well, I think there's somebody else that wants to see you," and it was Adrian. Now here's the question, you guys, I got real quick when it comes to Adrian. One that nigga in witness protection? One that nigga in witness protection? Because I could have swore that he was in witness protection, but okay, because he walking around freely. But again, I thought the last time we saw Adrian, maybe he's not in witness protection no more because that man is in jail. I don't know, but I thought he was in witness protection. But he's moving around freely, telling Chanel he loves her and that he wants to he proposed to her again. He showed her the ring, and Chanel ended up choosing herself, right? And I was like, okay, Chanel, I'm here for it, right? So then we see Lewis. So Lewis's game is live, and his team is celebrating him. So he got a call from Tony. And then we move over to Lucy. So Lucy got home, and her son got home, and so she was telling him about his dad, right? that his dad was arrested for being abusive. She said when he was a baby, his dad, beat her. She called the cops on him. Right, he went to go get a blicky, and on his way back, he was intoxicated, so he got pulled over. And because he had an illegally obtained gun, he got arrested because he already was on his second offense, and they put him in prison. Right, and I was like, that wasn't a bad story to tell your son. I mean, you don't want your son to. I mean, yeah, it's so many. When it comes to kids, you don't want to burden them with so much stuff that us adults can process. But once he got to a certain age, you should have told him, Lucy. But hey, better late than never, in the words of Riley Burrs, right? So we see Jax. So Jax is in her car, and she checked her voicemail, and Lewis left a message saying that they lost the baby. So we get see them at home, and so Lewis came in crying, and Jax was just there to comfort and console him. And Dominique, I hope he was there too to help your sister wife with your husband. So Chanel is at home with the girls, and Mavis came up to her telling her we're family. I was like, girl, you was a goddamn lie. Family my ass. And that's basically what Chanel said to her. She was like, Mavis, you are their grandmother. She said, but you and I, we are not family. She says, I will, have the girls brought to your house, right? But don't you ever come over to my fucking house again. I was like, hey, man, don't ever show your ugly, raggedy ass at my doorstep with these eyebrows again. And I'm not calling the woman who plays Mavis ugly. I'm just saying that the character of Mavis is ugly. Oh, God, Mavis is a bitch. A complete bitch. Now, we move back over to not Jax, but Lewis and Tony, right? So Tony is getting ready to prepare for a funeral for the baby. Now, I was so confused why this helpful wants to put a picture of Lewis on the obituary. Girl, put a picture of anything on that obituary, but Lewis. Okay, girl. Lewis told her that he wouldn't be coming to the funeral, and she got pissed off at him and told him to go. Like you and Jax just basically trying to say they bombarded their way into her life. Man, you slept with a married man that's married to two women, Dominique and Jax, and you want to blame them for this? Girl, go to hell. Go straight to hell, Tony. Now, we see Corey. So Corey was able to, he may be able to get Isabella out. So we see him as he and that doctor that took the stand, Essence Atkins character, I forgot what her name was, but they were at a bar and they were hitting it off, right? So Corey asked her out on a date, right? And she agreed. So then we see Spencer. So Spencer is at his school and he's performing, right? So after the performance, he introduces his little girlfriend to Jax and the family. And then an AR rep from a label comes up, wanting to sign Spencer, right? So Naima and Lewis went out to the side to have a conversation. And Naima just basically told Lewis how she feels, pushed aside. And like she just disappears, right? And Lewis reconfirmed, like, we both, your mom and I both love you, and even your brother, right? So he reconfirmed to her that they do love her, they do see her. And so we saw Lucy was there. So Jax went up to Lucy and she was like, your son did good. And Lucy's like, going to have a smoke. She's like, nah, I actually quit smoking. She's like, a donut. She's like, nah. She's like, what about a cookie? So Jax said, okay. But Jax thanked Lucy because she said, I know it was you who went to the judge and asked for a lighter sentence for Chanel. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was like, so you do have a heart, Lucy. And Lucy also thanked Jax for helping her with her situation with Peter and helping her to, be able to get some sleep, right? So then we see Corey. He got Isabella out of prison, and we see as Corey has packed up his office, and so he's leaving. I was like, wait a minute, Corey, you can't leave us now. Like, you and Jax are a dream team. Like, we need this for season 3, right? So we see that Crystal passed her LSAT test, and then we see as Ebony saw Natasha and apologizes to Natasha. And then we see Corey. So Corey and the doctor, they went on their date with each other, and we see Chris and Sally in therapy. Now, you guys remember the therapist asked Jackson Lewis, do they want to uncouple or do they want to reconcile? Sally says reconcile. Chris says uncoupling. I was like, well, I knew that was coming. But the problem with Chris is he's so Again, I got his frustration, his anger with Sally, with the house, right? But everything's the thing with Chanel and Natasha, that ain't got nothing. You can't be mad at her for that. I don't think he can. So then at the end of the episode, you guys, this raggedy hoe, Tony, had her motherfucking nerve. So we see as this raggedy bitch has someone come knock at the door at Jackson Lewis place because they playing Uno with the kids, and she served them, and she is blaming them for the death of her baby. I was like, you trifling hoe, girl, you got your nerve. You got your nerve. So I hope we do get a season 3 because, baby, I want Jax to wear that ass out. Because Tony, you thought she did you dirty on the stand when with this JT case, girl. Oh, I'm ready. The boxing gloves are on. They on for you, Tony. They're on. But yeah, you guys, that was season 2 of Reasonable Doubt. I have really enjoyed season 2. It's been so much fun reviewing it. Um, Again, I hope we get a season 3, and if we do, you guys know I will definitely 100% be back for season 3. But that is it, you guys. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, share the video. And until the next time, you guys stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, be blessed. And I'll see you guys in the next one. And also leave in the comments, you guys, what you guys thought of the season finale and the season 2. And I'll see you guys later. Bye.